Thanks for staying with us. The City of Cape Town has welcomed a Western Cape High Court ruling, which this week dismissed several urgent applications seeking to halt the auction of 50 state-owned properties. Now, the city contends that the release of this land is a strategic move to unlock economic and social value by transforming underused assets into hubs for private investment, job creation and urban development. Let's discuss this with the Good Party Cape Town caucus chair, Suzette Little. Suzette, the city says that selling this land will bring in more money for services. Why does then the Good Party think that keeping the land is more important?
Good afternoon, everybody. I need to just bring some clarity. The Good Party did not bring this interdict at the court. That interdict was brought by organizations within the City of Cape Town that were concerned regarding the sale of land without public participation or inquiring from the communities whether or not they have need of it. So it was not a political action, it was a community action that was brought before the High Court. What we believe is that the city continues. If you look over a 5-year period, the city continues to promise economic development, it promises social upliftment, it promises housing. In this 4.5 years, none of the land that has been released has yet yielded the social housing development. Housing developments that we are seeing are old projects that are only now being realized with building. So we haven't seen anything. In one particular case, the motivation for the release of land was the houses built on New Market affordable housing. Now, New Market has not yet developed social housing, yet that was the motivation before council. That is misleading. Also, there are a few other things that we believe as the Good Party what should be done with this land. We have got facilities, we need shelters, we need all of these types of facilities that can be brought about by the city. We need housing, number one. 400,000 people on a waiting list is no small number. These are people waiting for 30, 40 years on a waiting list. And so the city is obligated to do public participation. It is obligated to see if it has need of that land. And by its own documentation, it clearly has. It means that it had to take into consideration the people that they've been promising all these years that they were going to get a house and have never seen a property yet.
Suzette, while it wasn't the Good Party that brought the application to court, you are in support of these organizations that did.
Correct.
So, I mean, you cite the lack of consultation with community members as one of the reasons that these organizations brought the application. But the city is saying that they used feedback from a few years ago to justify the sale. Why is feedback from some 3-4 years ago a problem for a 2026 sale?
The city has no public participation policy or bylaw. It has a standard operating process. It places notices in the Argus and in the Burger. These are media or newspapers that the community does not use. When they do public participation, it is normally only with their DA members. And so you find that the general public or the general population does not have access to this information. Now, there are 2 specific or 3 specific areas and others that have lodged objections, which is the Highbury area, Rondebosch East area, and in the Gardens area. The city blatantly ignored these objections. And so what do you do with a city that does not govern in the interest of its people? It makes a political decision and then it goes ahead. How does one then stop the sale of property? Because once it's sold, one can never get it back. How do we do the restitution? How do we build these facilities that is beneficial to everybody?
Suzette, you've said Cape Town is spatially divided. Does selling the land then make the gap even bigger?
Most certainly it does. you will notice that when it comes to building and development in already overcrowded areas on the Cape Flats, this very same city has allowed for small rental units in your backyard, so you can densify even more in an overcrowded area. But in a well-located area, these properties are sold to the highest bidder. What was shocking at this auction was that one of the properties in Mitchell's Plain was sold for 110,000 Rand. Now, any member on that waiting list has access to a subsidy of 200,000 plus. Would it have made more sense to give it to somebody on the waiting list and actually make more money and then reduce your waiting list? That is what we are asking. We have people on that waiting list that's been waiting for years. Would that not be an obligation that you would consider? And this is why we're saying that the city has no compassion for the poor. We asked in a question to the city, tell us where you've spent the money, because it's also a narrative they use. We're selling these properties so that we could provide services to the poor. And when we asked the city, where exactly are you selling, where exactly are you using this money, I couldn't get an answer from the mayor. It was for infrastructural development. It was a very broad-based response to a very specific question.
Now, there are some 400,000 people waiting for housing in Cape Town. Could these 53 pieces of land have been fixed, or rather have fixed the problem of housing there?
It's a start. It most certainly is a start. And it's not just about these 50 houses or 50 properties that's been sold. It is the number of properties that has been sold over a period of 5 years. We have almost 80 property items every single council meeting. And we've been questioning these things since 2021. What impact has all of these sales made to the housing waiting list? And there's been no response. We've also asked, with these economic opportunities that happen, are we seeing those people, disadvantaged folk, are we seeing them become the owners of these businesses, or are they just workers? Because if they're just workers, why doesn't the city just buy a cotton plantation and make us all pickers? It will come to the same, it's employment.
Suzette, just lastly, outside of housing, what other uses could the land be for?
You see, the Section 14 says whether or not the city has benefit for it, or that the people have benefit for it. We need shelters, we need safe spaces for our women and children. We need education centers, ECDs. We need social upliftment areas, facilities. There are pensioners' cottages, pensioners' homes that we can build on there. There's a whole range of social upliftment facilities that one can build, not just housing. Because when you build a community, it's not just built on a house. There's got to be open spaces. The city is then selling off open spaces as well. So we're living in ghettos in Cape Town on the Cape Flats. And the city decides to look the other way, and the rest of the country is believing this narrative of a well-run city. Well, I would invite you to join me so that I can show you this well-run city.
Suzette, thank you very much for your insights. That is Good Party Cape Town Caucus Chair, Suzette Little.